This time we're talking about Trump's tariffs, right? There's talk of raising tariffs on various countries, which is concerning for Japan too. Trump's tariff policy is facing criticism, even from within his circle. It seems Tesla is also sounding the alarm about these tariffs. Tesla is Elon Musk's company, isn't it? What exactly were they saying? Tesla warned the Trump administration about the tariffs by January 13th. They said tariffs would raise costs for U.S. automakers and invite retaliation, possibly making them targets of retaliatory tariffs from other countries. They argued it would reduce export competitiveness. Tesla seems really concerned about Trump's tariffs. They're worried about being hit by retaliatory tariffs if other countries react. That's understandably a big concern for any company. They want to eliminate as many negative factors as possible. They also said tariffs shouldn't conflict with supporting domestic manufacturing and jobs. Didn't Trump talk about imposing a 25% tariff on Mexico? If that happens, would it significantly impact Tesla? That's right. Tesla sells EVs in the US, China, Europe, and elsewhere. US sold EVs are assembled there, but 20% plus parts are from Mexico. 25% tariff on Mexico would directly impact Tesla. That's not great for Tesla. Could they switch to US suppliers? How's that looking? The letter says some parts can't be sourced in the US? Tough. Retaliatory tariffs are also a possibility. China's already announced tariffs against the US, right? That's correct. Trump doubled tariffs on Chinese imports, triggering this. China's taxing U.S. farm goods up to 15% from March 10th. 15% is quite significant. They've also stopped buying U.S. soybeans completely. And they've halted U.S. lumber purchases too. That's some serious retaliation. They're even stopping imports of certain items. Indeed, that's the situation. And in the past, countries targeted by U.S. trade measures have quickly retaliated, including raising tariffs on electric vehicles. Of course, the side hit with tariffs isn't happy, and it's natural for them to react that way. As for Tesla, there's a boycott movement now, and their stock price has fallen. Oh, is that so? People opposing Elon Musk's political views are leading boycotts in the West. Musk is known for his aggressive approach to streamlining government efficiency. Those who disagree with his methods seem to be venting their frustrations on Tesla. I get why Musk opposes tariffs given his company, but even his allies have negative views on Trump's tariffs, right? The issue is Trump's inconsistent policies and wavering economic statements. Republican lawmakers and executives are voicing concerns too. Trump and his aides met on March 10th in the White House Roosevelt Room with CEOs from IBM, Qualcomm, Hewlett-Packard, and others. Even I've heard of these famous companies, despite not being a tech expert. These CEOs expressed worry that Trump's tariffs could harm their industry. It seems the tech sector views these tariff policies quite negatively. It's not just tech companies that are concerned, but insiders too. Even Trump's economic advisors seem worried about this policy. They're concerned about policy uncertainty and tariffs causing market drops, as well as price hikes in energy, construction materials, and more. I think the party would back Trump, but that's not always the case. Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota said he's unsure about tomorrow's tariff policy and expressed regret over the uncertainty that tariffs impose on state farmers and businesses. Criticism, isn't it? Similarly, Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina also mentioned that businesses hate uncertainty. Just on tariff policy, there are several key points being discussed. Without clarity, preparation is impossible. Everyone prefers accurate information. Also, a U.S. judge has blocked most of an executive order that would strip rights from a major law firm, Perkins Coie. Was this law firm specifically targeted by the executive order? What exactly happened here? It's because the firm worked against Trump's interests. The president, angered by this, tried to take action against the law firm. But is that even allowed? No, it's not. That's why the federal judge blocked the executive order. It would violate the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Judge Beryl Howell of the D.C. District Court, after a hearing, stated that the order likely violates the Constitution in multiple ways, undermining core principles that protect even unpopular or politically disadvantaged individuals in the U.S. legal system. The principle that one has the right to protection under the law and the right to appoint a proxy was criticized by the regime out of fear it would be undermined. Well, if that were to become commonplace, anyone siding with President Trump's enemies wouldn't know what might happen to them. Judge Howell also warned that Trump's orders could send the message that broadcasters and law firms serving as proxies for the president's enemies would be doing so at their own peril. This means that, within the Trump administration, not only are there issues with tariffs, but these kinds of problems exist as well. And that's on top of the mess related to the war in Ukraine. Speaking of the war, on the 14th, President Trump posted on social media that on the 13th, he had a very productive and constructive conversation with Russian President Putin. He seems very confident that there's a high possibility of ending this terrible war. His aides even said they went to Moscow to hold talks. That's right. On the 13th, U.S. Middle East envoy Witkoff visited Moscow and discussed an immediate ceasefire plan with President Putin. But it was Witkoff who held the talks, not Trump himself. Aren't there plans for Trump and Putin to hold talks in the future? After Witkoff reports back, a phone call with Berokino is scheduled to take place. Trump seems confident, but Putin seems reluctant. I wonder what will evolve. On the other hand, the U.S. and Ukraine have agreed on a 30-day immediate war plan on all front lines during one exchange talks. President Putin also suggested the idea of a regular war was right, and said we would support it undoubtedly. However, the conditions he demanded were high. He concurred with the proposal to end hostilities, but said a regular war must lead to lasting peace and remove the root causes of the crisis. What exactly is the root cause of the crisis Putin refers to? Doesn't look like he went into much detail. However, looking at previous claims from the Russian side, the attribution of Ukraine means ensuring the safety of Russia, including the acceptance of the right to break the course in Ukraine. If this is an absolute condition, it seems difficult to reach mutual agreement. Also, according to Putin, during the period of regular war, there seems to be concern about the possibility of Ukraine mobilizing soldiers and procuring weapons. Furthermore, he stated there is a need for close review on how to monitor regular frontline warfare on a large scale, and that he needed to discuss with the U.S. side. Indeed, whether we can fight a regular war on the front line, we must confirm it, or we will not feel safe with each other. That's something we must be sure of. However, President Putin doesn't seem too enthusiastic about regular war. Even in the U.S., there are many who perceive Putin's remarks as negative towards regular war. Quasi-official senators of the Republican Party suggest that Putin does not want peace. They even concluded that he wants to conquer. Explanation ends here. Please subscribe to the channel.